The date is June 16th, 2016. Rick Surrette,
Present.
Rob Collins,
Here.
Geary Ciccarone, Jim Freeman, Ed Comeau,
Present.
David Champy II,
Fighting fires.
Rich Zacher,
Here.
Dianne Smith.
Here.
So we have three regular members that have not been able to attend. But we have enough for a quorum.
Will you sit on the board today, Diane?
Yes.
Thank you. Public comments? Announcements, correspondence, mail. A couple quick things. Stratford Regional Planning Commission wants to know if we're going to send them $826.29 representing the fiscal year 217 dues.
Do you want to entertain a motion?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we do not pay the invoice this year.
Second. Discussion?
Discussion. Have we used any of their services this year that they offer, either contracted or otherwise?
I think no, other than the books. Diane?
I'm going to flip that question around. Do we expect to use any of their services for FY17?
No. Any discussion? All in favor of paying the dues?
I'm sorry, the motion was to not pay the dues.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll sign it.
Signing is not paying.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thanks for checking.
Just want to be sure.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
what is the actual document that we're signing here? Is it just the letter?
The signed statement is to confirm that the town of Brookfield, New Hampshire voted to refrain from making payment to Stratford Regional Commission.
Does that letter also go to the selectmen, or is it just us?
The letter is going back to Stratford Commission. Will you copy the selectmen as well, Josh?
We can do that.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. The next is an invoice for State of New Hampshire Office and Energy Planning. Was for the spring planning zoning conference that I attended and Diane attended. The invoice is just for me. Did you pay in a different way?
We got a twofer. Yeah, I was there. I
Did-
checked off, Bill the town, so
Okay.
maybe you'll get another one.
Probably.
We got one Tuesday night for you.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see
Okay.
that one, Richard.
Did I see this one?
No, but I saw one for Diane.
Well, then the selectmen can pay mine and not come out of the planning board budget.
Perhaps.
I think the treasurer is more efficient than that.
Will you submit this to the treasurer or the selectman?
Selectmen.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. First on the agenda, Fred Kahn proposed lot line adjustment. This is a preliminary conceptual consultation. Thank you.
The purpose of this meeting is to request the planning board's approval for the surveyor to use the 1993 data of a survey made at that time. And I brought with me the executive director of the Moose Mountain Regional Greenways, Patty Burns, and surveyor Steve Perrin, and they will have most of the questions.
Okay.
I've just stated my only question.
All right. We'll need to look at the old, we'll have to look at the plan anyway.
Yeah, why don't I go first?
Okay.
To clarify, that what we're proposing is a minor subdivision, not a lot line adjustment. This is the property in the old plan that was done in '93 by Eric Rosin, that's the pronunciation. This is a tape and compass survey of about 178 acres.
No, excuse me, it was made with distance measuring equipment and modern standards.
He puts a statement to that effect on the plan, but the actual data on the plan indicates tape and compass level of accuracy. So that's why we're wondering if I didn't see anything in the subdivision regulations that specifies a minimum error of closure. So I'm thinking that the New Hampshire Code of Administrative Rules would cover this situation where a wood lot like this that's well bounded with fences and iron pins and so forth, it's acceptable to use that lesser precision of tape and compass surveying. So what we're asking is if we can do an instrument survey of this 12-acre, we're proposing to take a 12-acre lot out of this property.
Right.
151 acres is going to be subject to a conservation easement held by Moose Mountain Regional Greenways. And this lot, which was merged after the survey was done, the 15.5 acres, is going to be accepted from the conservation easement, but it's not going to be a lot. It's going to remain part of this property as far as Fred's ownership. But it's going to be free of the conservation easement. This will be encumbered by the conservation easement. This 12 acres, the purpose of subdividing out a 12-acre lot is to have something to sell to cover transaction costs and so forth.
Okay.
So from my point of view, I've never done a subdivision in this town before, so I'm asking if we can do that, use the existing survey at this scale too. It's an inch equals 200 feet rather than an inch equals 100 feet. Do an instrument survey of the 12-acre proposed lot. And I'm also asking if we can ask for a waiver on soils and wetland mapping, test pits, topographic mapping, considering that this is a very large lot. This is a 12-acre lot. So I think this is a very simple subdivision, and the net effect is to put the bulk of the property in the conservation easement.
Yes.
So it's not I think this will be a good thing for the town.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, can I ask go ahead.
Yes, the waivers request, I don't think that would be a problem at all, because we've done that many times,
Okay.
considering the size. Rob?
Just so I'm clear, that there's currently one lot?
Currently one lot.
And
At the time of the survey, there were 2 deed tracts.
Right.
After the survey was done, Fred did a voluntary merger of those 2. So this is now, it's on the tax map as map 25, lot 1, the entire thing.
Okay.
It's one lot.
And the end result will be 2 lots or 3? 2
2
lots.
lots.
2 lots.
2 lots. A
Wait.
12-acre lot and all the rest.
Okay.
Okay.
And so both would meet the road frontage requirements?
Yes, that's about 800 feet
Okay.
of frontage, and that's
So-
a similar amount.
Plenty.
More than enough.
And I think our concerns would be, we probably could waive the wetlands and soil stuff,
Okay.
but we do need to make sure that both lots end up being buildable lots.
Okay.
So I think that this is just my thought, right, is that if you could show us where you've got the contiguous buildable area that would be required, and
Okay.
where you could put a septic system,
Mhm.
right? So just sort of give us enough reassurance that it's a buildable
Sure.
lot,
Yeah.
and that there aren't any, that it's not all swamp or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
I think that that'll give us what we're really looking for,
Right, yeah.
with having the full detail.
Yeah.
Right, we're really looking to make sure it's still a buildable lot.
Yeah. So what kind of information would you like to just outlined on the plan, or would you need topo or a test pit or that sort of thing?
I'm not an expert on it. I would think that we'd want to see where you had done enough surveying to note
Right.
to meet our building lot requirements, which are in the zoning ordinance. You should
Yep.
take a look at that.
Right, yeah.
And my guess would be there would need to be a test pit to make sure that there was an area acceptable for a septic system, right?
I don't think that would be necessary on a
Okay.
12-acre lot unless it's obviously all swamp.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to give us enough assurance that,
Right.
you know, we're not creating a lot that
Right.
nobody's gonna be able to build on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, my thought is, you know, usually the state doesn't bother to look at anything over 5 acres, you know, because their attitude is that, you know, if you've got 5 acres, there's someplace to put a septic
Exactly
system.
right.
Okay, well, like
And
I said, I'm
think
not an
that's,
expert, so.
you know, that's certainly the case here.
The
too.
frontages are fine.
It doesn't look like it's close, right? I mean, but I think that would be,
Way over.
yeah, so.
So as far as using the 1993, I don't see a problem with that. That's the latest, right?
Yeah, it's a good map. The bounds are there. They're marked, painted, glazed. Pins are in at the corners. So for a woodlot, it meets the state code of administrative rules on
Yeah.
surveying.
Is your house on this, one of these lots?
It is, yeah. It's on that 15.5 acres.
So there is a house on one of them?
Yeah, Fred's house is right out behind the Wigan Cemetery,
Yes.
about so, yeah.
So you'd want to make sure that when you draw the lines, that you've got meet the setback requirements. and all
Setbacks, right,
that,
exactly, yes.
You know.
So,
Obviously, I mean, even if we're happy with the survey,
mhm.
and a butter might not be, but I think I'm sure he knows his neighbors,
Right.
right? So,
Sure, yeah.
I don't see any other big issues here.
Okay.
Not from anything I know of.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just subdividing off one lot.
Yeah, and it's a big lot,
Adjustment,
so.
yeah.
So just to be clear, if I come in without a test pit data, do you think that'll fly?
You can come in without a test pit there.
Yeah, okay.
For each of the things that you'd want waived that are on the checklist, each
Right.
of those things, just, you know, give us in a letter, a written
Right,
form,
written,
what you're asking for a waiver on and
Right.
why.
Yeah, okay,
Just give us enough ammunition to be able to say yes.
sure, yeah, okay.
Sounds easy enough, Fred. Sounds easy enough.
Yeah, it's a simple.
Does the 151 abut any other conservation land?
It may very soon. There's a campaign ongoing from Lake Wentworth Association, ongoing now,
Yeah,
for the abutting property called they're calling it Warren Brook. So that would expand the conservation value and allow this property to really be connected to Lake Wentworth, giving less runoff into the lake, which is
And I think
very positive
that corner,
yes.
result for the
Fred's
lake.
property here,
Uh-huh.
the other one.
Oh, wow. Warren Brook, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Warren Brook does go through this property as well. It's really a beautiful property, and Fred is, his easement will allow people to go through it, to have public access to it, so it becomes a recreational, long-term recreational opportunity for the town.
Pretty good. Thank you.
he's right at the top of the watershed for Warren Brook too, so that's the
Yeah.
beginning, that's a great place to have it right up to the top.
Does Warren Brook start in Kingswood? Is that the headwater for it?
It looks that way on the topo map.
No, it doesn't. It starts in a marsh.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
On the other side, yeah.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. Very good. You want to see the overview?
Okay.
Thank you.
I would like to say thank you for understanding that when the costs go up before we do a conservation easement, it really translates difficultly to the organization that's going to be building the easement, because we do fundraise for the long-term endowment that goes with that, so that there will be forever monitoring of the easement boundaries. It will become a burden to the township, the town, so.
We want people to be able to do what they want to do. We're not here to obstruct anything. We just go by our zoning laws, and if everything fits what
Understood.
this does.
Great.
Great,
Thank you.
Great.
thanks.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to
Thank
keep that map for time being?
If you don't need it, we'll file it.
Sure, yeah, by all means, yeah.
All right.
So just one final question. Where are there, can you point on there where there are monuments or something that is fixed to the earth, which marking the, or is it just the corners?
All of the existing corners are marked right now. In '93, Rosine set rebars at all of the major corners, and those are all in place. There are fence lines for the most part, some bits of stone wall, red stone wall. And then I'll be marking these lines.
The rebar is, I've got a corner on my lot that the rebar is fixed in mud. I mean, is this like actually, are these actually fixed?
They're good points. There are some wetlands across the lines out here in the back, but all the corners are in. So.
Okay, I think
And
we
the
would,
lines were glazed and painted, and there's still some red paint on them. So they're actually pretty
I think that, and at the road frontage, they're marked as well?
Yeah.
Those corners as well?
Yeah, we saw this one. This one's right up the wall at the cemetery. This one will be stone wall all the way out.
So you're gonna use that prior lot line?
Yeah,
as part of that one?
it's convenient. It's as far as land use goes, it makes sense because it's right up against the house area, the fields. So it's a logical line for the lot.
Mhm.
And then the other thing, we did locate I wanted to ask you, should we get a driveway permit from the state at this point, or can that wait until somebody wants to build?
I think that should wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that Eddie, the building inspector, would require as part of the building permit.
Building, okay. So, yeah, we did identify a spot. You do have to, that's another reason for putting all that frontage into the lot, is you do have to go down about 400 feet from the cemetery to get a site distance because of that hill that crests the cemetery. So, that's nice. That'll limit future development of that 12 acres.
Right.
Because that's not the only place you can put a driveway in there. Okay, so that's,
Excellent.
Yeah, this looks straightforward.
so, yeah, it's a good part. This is a good survey.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay.
Makes life easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll leave it.
Moving on.
Mr. Chairman, can I see the topographical?
Yes, you will.
Sure.
Want to reopen that public hearing? Just
Do you want us to stay?
I think,
continue to call it reopen.
yeah, I think you're just gonna announce that you're continuing the hearing from whenever the date was. And
What was the date?
Okay,
First public hearing.
the first public hearing was 6th. Monday the 6th.
Okay. We're going to go into the continuation of the public hearing from 6/6/16. And the order of business, there's so few people here, we're not going to have sign-up sheets and everything. I don't think it's necessary.
I've already done it for those.
Oh, you did? Okay, so we'll have that then. Okay, consider the hearing open again.
And Rick, I will recuse myself.
You may?
Yep.
You don't have to change your seat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, where we left off, we're gonna review the application to determine completeness, but you guys were gonna go over the step-by-step of the lot line adjustments to assure that it's lot line adjustments and not subdivision. And the lot line adjustments, I saw that written down somewhere. The definition, it's pretty clear. The adjustment or relocation of property line between existing adjacent lots that does not result in the creation of additional buildable lots without subdivision.
Our turn?
Yeah?
Okay. Again, I'm Brian Berlin of Land Tech, and with me is David Catadaro of Zip Tie LLC, one of the applicants. And at our last meeting, I don't think you have accepted the application as complete. Is that
We
correct?
haven't, right.
Okay. And I want to make note, we were requesting waivers too, which should be noted in the record.
Yes.
And I missed the last hearing, which was, what, 10 days ago or so? But I did make the previous one when you first looked at this.
Right.
And it was kind of suggested that I prepare a sequence how this whole thing works, and why it is a lot line adjustment. So I would submit that here, how the different lots are broken up.
Okay.
Because it is, there's several parcels being transferred, and that explains that.
The bottom, we're ended up with less, still ended up with less lots.
Yes.
Correct?
And in most cases, conformity with the ordinances is improved. In no way is it become non-conforming. Nothing non-conforming now becomes more non-conforming, I should say.
Right.
So the end result looks like this. We had a board, but I think a dog ate it, believe it or not. But it's- Yes.
Do we have an easel, Judge? Something that can stand up?
I'll see if I can find out.
Or some tape, put it over that for a moment.
That's the only one.
Okay.
It's not, there's three enough of us, and there's still your chair.
Put the whiteboard on, before I can hold it.
Or just a piece of scotch tape or two?
Put it on that.
Yeah, we've got some scotch tape. Nope.
Let's just follow this road.
There's a conglomerate of lots here and buildings. This is the waterfront portion of this lot line adjustment. And to orient yourself, this is Tumble Down Dick Road over here. But Zacher is lot 5, and his home and garage are right here. Michael and Marcy Gattadaro have a camp right here, but it only runs back this far. In other words, the boundary line for that camp is right here. So it's a very tiny lot.
What was the current designation for that lot?
It's known as Lot 4, and that's Michael and Marcy Gattadaro.
That's the current name for it?
Yes.
Okay.
That is David's brother. Zip Tie owns Lot 2A and 3, which are right in this zone, and there's a very old dilapidated camp there. But that has a toilet in it, right?
Pardon?
That camp have a sewer facility in there?
No, it's
No
gonna be a
bathroom?
septic system, which is actually on lot, what was on lot 3.
Okay.
Lot line between lot 2A and 3 go directly through the center of the camp. So the camp's actually
Right.
2 lots.
But there's no septic system for the camp?
Nope.
Okay. And then there's a Lot 2, which looks like this. No road front, but has nice waterfront. That is known as Lot 2, and Zip Tie also owns that. Lot 18 is this lot on Tumble Down Dick Road, owned by Zip Tie. And Lot 17 is all of this land here. Comes down here, it has a little bit of road frontage, not road frontage, water frontage here, and it contains all this area. So there's 2 giving lots here. Zacher gives away land and becomes smaller, and 17 gives away land and becomes smaller. All other lots become larger. By breaking up 17, for example, the parcel that goes to The part of lot 17 that'll go to 2 is known as parcel K, right here is shown on the plans. And that is 9.6 acres going to parcel 2. This is the original parcel 2, so it's going to retain that part of parcel 2. And for parcel 2 to have the correct road frontage, it's going to steal a little piece of 18 right here. So 2, which didn't have road frontage before, now has road frontage and conforming road frontage at that. 17 becomes much, much smaller, but it's still an 8.7 acre tract right here. Has road frontage and what waterfront it already had. It's not 250, but it's grandfathered. In that letter details how each and every parcel, which way they go and which way they marry. I can go through that if you want me to.
I'd like that.
Okay.
I broke up into 3 pieces.
We'll do them in order. So lot 2 comes first. Currently owned by Zip Tie, and it's this piece right here. Has a big 3 in it now, but that's not the current condition. This piece right here is 2. It's going to get merged with parcel G, which is a part of lot 2, which is this piece right here.
Yep.
It's itself. Gets merged with parcel H, which is a part of 18. Parcel H is...
There's my first error.
In backup theory.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, yes.
May I make a suggestion? We don't
Yeah.
know what the letter designations mean. We only know what the former lots were. Or person, I shouldn't say we. So you're referring to a new nomenclature.
By the parcels, you mean?
Right, by saying
Okay.
it's taking H, for example. That means
Right.
nothing to me because I can't see that tiny print on
Right, well,
there.
it's on your plans. You have
Okay.
full-size plans.
Okay.
I know you can't see
Okay,
this.
thank you. All right, that's fine.
I'm looking at 2 here, sorry. Oh yeah, so parcel H is here, that little piece of 18, excuse me. Lost parcel H for a minute there. And it gets parcel K, which is a part of that giant donor of this whole thing, 17. Parcel K is this little piece right here, which is part of 17. I'm still talking about 2, I'm sorry. Parcel K is this big piece of 17.
Yes.
So we'll start over. It's getting H, the little piece of 18, this big piece of 17, and its original 2. And that ends up being 10.97 acres with 250 feet of road frontage and an unchanged waterfront, which is conforming. It's 257. Okay? What was 2 acres to begin with is now 10.9. Parcel 3 is a complicated one. That is owned by Zip Tie, and that's that 2A and 3 thing you'll see on the tax map. 2A is this tiny, tiny little lot, about 50 by 80. It gets merged with parcel C, which is part of lot 5, which is Zacher. And that would be this piece right, let's see, excuse me. Been looking at this thing too long, right here. That little strip, a 50-foot strip. It gets part of parcel D, which is the Guttadaro Trust. So there's a 40-foot transfer of waterfront from Mike and Marcy Guttadaro to Zip Tie here. So this little chunk of 4 goes into parcel 3. Parcel E, which is 2A, and itself, a part of 3 itself. And lastly is parcel F, which is part of lot 2, and that is this piece of parcel 2. And again, I know you can't see this, but it is on your plans if they're open in front of you. The end result is a 2.45 acre tract of land with an increased waterfront by 44 feet because of the Michael and Marcy conveyance to 3.
From what size?
I'm sorry?
What size was 3 before?
3 before was 0.7 acres. Parcel 4 is next, which is Mike and Marcy Gattadaro. The easy part here is they merged with a piece of Richard Zacker's land, parcel 5, which is known as parcel B, which is right here. It's just where that whole 4 is currently Richard Zacker's land. He conveys to Gattadaro, and then, like we talked about before, Gattadaro then conveys 44 to Zip Tie. That end result is a 1.44 acre tract of land, which is an increase of 0.48 acres. This was a very tiny lot. Also gets much deeper from the water.
There's currently a structure on that, correct?
Yes, 2 structures,
Okay.
2 cabins, dwelling units. Zacher is strictly a donor, similar to lot 17. He conveys parcels B, which goes to Gattadaro, and parcel C, which goes to lot 3. And these are all defined, every one of these parcels on this plan. Continuing in numeric order, 17 was the great donor of this whole thing. It sells parcel, excuse me, right there, parcel K. It sold parcel A, and I believe it was H or J, this piece right here. It still ends up being a quite large lot of 8.72 acres. It has no change in its waterfront, and it has conforming road front as it always has. And lastly is parcel 18. This is, again, started here, and it merges with parcel A, which is all part of 17, which is 16 acres. And it conveys out parcel H being merged with 2. No, that's later. I'll cross that. I'll cross that on your letter. 18 doesn't convey out other, oh, excuse me, yes, right here. I keep losing that one. That's parcel H. Just because there's all that parcel, though, doesn't mean there has to be all those deeds. Since Zip Tie owns the majority here, they can just redefine the boundary lines as shown on this plan and certainly refer to the earlier plan.
So, may I?
Yes.
So what happened to 2, so I know what happened to 2A, but I'm gonna ask, what happened to 2A?
2A is being merged with 3.
So, assuming, you're expecting that we would give you conditional approval, where one condition at least would be that voluntary merger.
We have no objection to that.
Right, but I mean, I think that for this plan to match reality, that would have happened, that
Yes.
would have had to have taken place.
Right.
Right, so,
2A and 3 does nothing to this lot line adjustment. It's all is a little island in here.
right.
So, we've also requested waivers, which probably need to be addressed for the record. Similar to large land tract type surveys, we're asking for waivers to the specific wetlands and waterways. This is all Article 6, C, watercourses, wetlands was 15. 17 is soils and wetlands delineations. 18 is test pits. 19 is proposed septic system areas, and 20 was proposed well locations. Given the size of these tracts, the smallest ones are better than they were, but they're already developed. We think it's premature to demand that kind of detail at this time. And thanks to shoreland permitting and septic system permitting, all those things can be done at a more appropriate time. Also note that Article 5G2 in your own planning board regulations says, and I quote, "The planning board may waive certain plat requirements for lot line adjustments and minor subdivisions," end quote. So we submit that respectfully too.
These are the waiver requests.
So just so that I'm clear, because you had mentioned some of these things that you're looking for waivers for, and noted, Brian, that the small lots are already developed. So for the zip tie properties, which would be on this, correct me if I'm wrong, 17, 2, 18, and 3, correct?
Correct.
Are there any structures on any of those lots currently?
3 has that dilapidated camp right here.
So, given the structures that are the existing structures, are the lot lines moving away from those structures, increasing setbacks, or if they are moving toward the structures, are the setbacks meet our current zoning?
I'm happy to report that water frontage, 44 feet of waterfront change, brought it farther from that structure. So,
So setbacks are not worse.
no, and that structure is, I would say it's not repairable, really. I mean, you could rebuild it in place, but
Right.
I don't think that's in the cards.
Well, for a non-compliant lot, normally you'd have to stick within the existing footprint,
Right,
unless you got ZBA to agree to let you do something different.
yeah.
So,
Excuse me.
no, I think I'm done with that thought.
That's all beyond what this meeting is about. We're looking at these lot line adjustments. Everything else, 17 is non-conforming shoreline, whether it's grandfathered, that's fine. 3 is a non-conforming lot. 4 and 5 are currently inhabited. So anything that happens on 17 and 3 would likely go through the ZBA. Septic, et cetera, around the lake will be through the state. So I'm not sure that we're concerned with that.
So lot 2, if I understood correctly, you think should be a conforming building lot, according to our zoning?
It is.
It has all the correct dimensions to be a conforming lot, yes.
So, we would normally require some specification of where a buildable area that meets, we have, I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's some number of square feet, contiguous square feet that would be buildable, and, some indication of that on the plan, things like that. Now, I'm not that familiar with this area. Is there, it's a pretty big piece of land. I'd be surprised if there weren't a good area to build on the new lot 2. But I think that would be one of our concerns, is just that it really is a buildable lot. We have a whole bunch of restrictions beyond just frontage, right? That's the easiest one to see on the plan, but
there's currently a lot 2 now that is less buildable than this lot 2, just due to its size. It's not like we're creating a lot 2, we're adjusting it. And I would also argue that lot 18 is also a buildable lot because of its road frontage. And I could argue 17 is, even though the water frontage isn't there, it's grandfathered.
well, grandfathered as a non-conforming lot.
Yeah.
Pre-existing non-conforming, yes.
Right, which is fine, doesn't make it buildable though. You still, if you want to build a new structure on a non-conforming lot, you have to go to the ZBA. I think it's a super easy case
Okay. Yeah.
to make, right? Especially if you put a
Okay.
house on the street side, right? But
Within that waiver request are the details to prove building lots, and that's why we're requesting the waiver.
so you guys know, you obviously walked all of this land, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming, but I'd like some reassurance that lot 2, clearly, that there's no doubt that it's buildable, that there's a place you can put a house.
You could probably build a 10 points.
Yeah.
Right, so, okay, so I mean, that's
Lot
just,
2 could support multifamily dwelling.
That's the,
that's great.
The state wouldn't stop them.
that's the land where Chuck was gonna put 300 cabins.
Okay.
There's plenty of buildable land out there.
I think that's just one of our, you know, just,
Right.
we don't want, as part of this process, to be creating lots that are not buildable, you know, and we've got the list of requirements that what makes it buildable. So
Mhm.
dry land is part of that,
Mhm.
right? So,
Yeah.
but it's big enough and it sounds like it's
Very dry.
dry.
Yeah,
So,
that lot is 95% upland, no question.
and is lot 17, the new lot 17 fall into that same category?
Oh,
Of
absolutely.
being dry, I assume
Yeah.
so. So,
It's very hilly land. You know, it's not too steep, I don't say that to imply that, but it's,
I'm familiar with the
you know,
land.
there's very few wetlands.
Tumbledown is very high, and it just slopes down to the lake. It's dry
The
woods.
big giant fish and game wetland is right there, and then it just rises from there. You know, there's probably 50, 60 vertical feet just on the road frontage there. Steep. So there were buildable lots, by my definition, meaning you can get a septic system on them today. There'll be better buildable lots with this, especially 2 and 3, and 4.
so it looks like it's plenty big, but the piece of land that went from 5 to 4 is near the structures. The setbacks are still plenty more than our zoning requires.
The only place,
Zachary garage, right?
yes, we make certain, this is the existing line here. Okay, so we made certain that when we moved, we created this line, that it was far enough from the overhangs of the garage, plus a foot.
Okay, so it's close, but it meets the requirements.
I would certify that it does, yes.
Okay.
Same thing with Mike's building. We made sure we didn't get too close to that structure with the setback.
And what are the numbers that you're using for that setback?
40.
Does anyone have any questions? Any more questions?
So what's your plan, to go through the application?
Yes.
So we might, I mean, that might raise some more questions, but I think you did a decent job of explaining a complicated proposal.
And
So-
that's exactly what we asked for at the first public meeting.
Okay,
It's satisfactory, thank you.
great.
So the next order of business at the public meeting is to review the application.
Mr. Chairman,
This,
here's the original application.
okay. Does this have to go into deliberation or something, or we just,
We can, I think.
Um,
Oh, for reviewing the application, no, I think we stay as part of the public hearing.
Yes.
And then once we've,
that way the applicants can answer questions?
right,
Okay.
and I think also you could entertain, members of the public asking questions as well, if you wanted to.
Mr. Chairman, I also want to submit this. This is the latest amendment to the application right here. It was passed in last Friday.
Right,
Are we still within the public hearing?
yes.
I can take those. Thank you.
These are the notifications, all that was satisfactory?
Yes, sir. There were two that originally we didn't receive. I'll double check on those right now.
The receipt of all,
Yes,
everything's in line.
this is the receipt of the check.
Mr. Chairman, did we receive any written comments from an abutter or a member of the public related to this?
Not to my knowledge.
No, we have not.
Just want to, I mean, we'd want to consider that if we had, just asking for completeness.
Thank you.
Page 1, it's Appendix B. It's right after the flow chart.
No, it's in the appendix, going wrong,
There you go, other way. Yeah, just after,
right after
yeah.
No, okay. If I put it over here.
So Appendix B, submission of application materials. Whose signatures are these?
That's mine.
Okay.
So do we have just one copy of this? Is that, I'm just,
Yeah.
okay, so, so you got page 1 of Appendix B with the signature on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, an adjustment, checked off.
So there's a checklist here, 4 plats prepared by a licensed New Hampshire surveyor.
Four.
Awesome.
that. Excuse me, are those the amended ones or the original ones that have been at the public hearing?
Question. These are the original ones, these are the amended.
When you did the amended application, did you give us all new materials? Can we just ignore what was previously?
No, well, those, yes, I did. I gave you a new amended application, now that you mention it.
Okay, so
There are like
so
2 pages that you changed.
the original we should just ignore for now and look.
Sure.
Or is there any part of the original application that we need to maintain?
I guess the abutters, you didn't read
No
those,
changes
but-
to that, just,
Right, but that came in with the original. Did you give us another copy of that?
I think I gave you a
Okay,
whole new application.
okay.
It's been a few days since I've done that.
This is
Um,
complete to the original.
Well, if we miss-
Okay.
if something's missing, we'll look in the first one. right?
The changes were very minor on the application.
That's
Okay, so 4 plats. Well, I guess first, you got this
start from the beginning.
page 1 with the signature,
Yep.
and then page 2, lot line adjustment.
Correct.
Right, so now 4 plats. Do we,
4 plots. Five. Four plots.
awesome. 111 by 17 copy of the plat, looks like we have 5 of those.
Yes.
One
Do I get
Mylar,
extra credit for that?
maybe. I'm not sure if it's gonna get you much. Oh, application fees. You got a check
Yes.
for, I guess we'll get to that, I guess, on page 5, but so, how much was that for?
$776.
Okay, I think when we get to page 5, we can check the math on that.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 Mylar of mailing tube.
I had a Mylar with me, I did not bring a mailing tube.
You're gonna try to
I
use
can
your,
get you one,
you're gonna use your
I'll-
your extra credit right now, I think.
Actually, I'm gonna revise that waiver request.
Okay, so we're missing a mailing tube. Is that,
I'm not gonna stop anything for a mailing too,
well, we can make it a condition on,
right?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as far as the mailing tubes, if it is convenient, I do have extra mailing tubes, if the board wants to accept that.
That's appropriate.
uh,
We have extra mailing tubes.
those are government mailing tubes.
Did we buy them?
No, sir. They've been donated by various people in the past when we kept them.
We're gonna keep these extra 11 by 17 flats in case somebody needs one in the future, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, George. Okay, 3 sets of address mailing labels, 1 inch by 2 and 5/8 inch, number 10 business envelope certified mail forms as per butter notification form. So I think we did all that before, right?
Yes.
So, awesome. So we need pages 1 through 6 as
Right.
well. So page 3
Yep.
is filled out.
Owner of record, see attached. Consolidation of 7 lots into 6 through lot line adjustment. Name of the surveyor.
Okay, so that description is, I think, not quite right, because lot line adjustments don't consolidate lots.
Well, I think we're all agreed in the math that 2A and 3 are part of that plan, to merge those two. The previous application said 7 lots into 5, and that got
Right.
complicated.
So this
Right.
is 7 into 6 through lot line adjustment.
Well, but that, I mean, by definition, that requires a merger as well. It's not just, you can't just do that you can't do that with lot line adjustments alone, I don't think.
It doesn't overtly state that there will be a merger and then a lot line adjustment, because that would be more accurate.
So it's a voluntary merger of
Well,
2A.
I think, my suggestion would be, let's not get stuck on that, and we'll just make as a condition that, of the approval, that merger happens, and is completed before the lot line adjustment is approved.
Okay, what merger is that? Is that 2A and?
2A and 3.
2A and 3, voluntary merger.
But I still want to argue you can consolidate lots through lot line adjustments. Picture 3 lots in a row, and the abutter on each side decides to buy half of that center lot. So the surveyor walks in with 3 lots existing, walks away with 2. Nothing merged, it just got consumed. And the same thing happens here, lots get consumed.
That's one way of looking at it.
It just proves that you
I hear
can't
what
consolidate with an adjustment. You can't do an unsubdivision in the case of that center lot.
You're adjusting to disappear a line, is what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the end result.
Well, disappearing a line means a merger, in some people's opinion, at any rate. But
I mean, your argument is such that it would make me question why we have a process for a voluntary merger of lots.
Oh, that's to get their taxes down. People want to
No,
merge lots.
but we could just
do that.
use the lot line adjustment
They
process.
could, and we are here.
For satisfaction of the board, will you put in the merger, voluntary merger of
Yeah.
2A and 3? That'll be a condition.
That's fine.
Okay. You note that, Judge?
Yes, sir.
And maybe what you're suggesting is perfectly reasonable. We're not experts at this. We're lay people, so.
I don't think,
I'll just give you an example how you can't really merge using that form. That 3rd lot just disappears.
Well, you could do a merger.
And I've
And
done
then
surveys
one
like
Come
that.
on, they're doing a merger. It's a condition.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Next on
I'm
the
okay.
list.
Okay, so we're looking at page 3.
Yes.
And the C attached, what's the C attached for owner of record? Just list the owners of all of these lots?
What is attached?
There should be an owner's signature sheet on there.
Owner of record 3. 3 signatures.
Okay, good.
4
But
signatures.
so who are the 3 owners listed?
David Goddardaro. Michael Goddardaro. Marcy Goddardaro. Richard Zacher. Rose Zacher.
And that's all on page 3?
David Goddardaro.
So here they wrote C attached.
That's
Oh.
see
That's
attached.
attached.
It's a signature page, is the attached. So all owners of land are signed off.
Well, they're listed. The sign off is on a different sheet, is it not?
Okay, this is signature page.
Yeah, I'm not sure we asked for the signatures from the owners of record, but we probably ought
It's
to.
the next page.
Is it?
Page 5. Oh, you're missing a page. Excuse me.
No, please.
Using your document. This one here. Isn't this what we're looking for?
No, but that's not part, page 7 is not part of the lot line adjustment.
Just
Lot line
up to
adjustments
6.
1 through 6.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Lot line adjustments are tough.
We're on page,
So,
Are they signed by those owners?
they are.
yes.
Okay.
But I'm not sure we asked for that, we probably ought to.
Hmm.
Just,
Just so
I don't know.
somebody knows that they're giving away some property.
Yeah, so item 2 is filled in, it looks like, which is the applicant slash agent.
Yes.
Item 3, property address slash location of subject parcel.
Tumble down Dick Mead Dam Road.
Okay. Number 4, map and lot subdivision name.
Attached. It's on the owners of record signature page. Tax maps.
Okay. Registry of Deeds book.
Same.
Okay. Number 6 on page 4 now, total acreage and proposed number of lots.
Yes. 48.925 total acres. Proposed number of lots, 6.
So the 48.9, that's all those lots, all of Zachard's lots, all of 18, all of 17, and,
It's been so long since I did that, and I believe that is correct, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And then number 7 is something checked for each one?
Overlay districts or other regulations affecting subject property. Highway permit, no. Shoreline protection, no.
Oh, wait. I mean, this is shoreline, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't shoreline protection affect this property?
It does affect the property upon permitting land disturbance or construction. It does not, it can be subdivided without shoreland approval.
So you.
Or not subdivided, adjusted, let's put it that way.
Right.
But it could even be subdivided without shoreland
Because the
approval.
land itself, what you're saying is that the land is covered by it, but this project isn't covered
Correct.
by it. Got it, okay.
Correct.
Just want to make sure I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying there.
No, they will need a shoreland permit for any new
Right.
dwellings or,
Right, the land's not being
disturbance.
touched. It's
Yeah.
all just drawings, lines on maps.
Yep,
Right. so-
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So same for groundwater protection, at this point, no. Scenic roadway, at this point, no. Regional impact, no. Current use tax, no.
So none of these, regarding current use, none of these that are in current use become less than, are not adjacent to the current owner that
They're not
has.
current use, right?
I'm not, I don't,
The small ones probably aren't, if they aren't
No.
co-owned with the.
do you know which one? Three isn't, 2A isn't?
No, I think, yeah.
And Rich, you couldn't be because of your size, right?
Yeah,
The
you're
two that came out of current use with a jigger and the adjacent one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everything else is in current use that you own.
I'm sorry, what came out of current use?
Those two little lots, I'm sorry, there was,
2A and 3.
the one with the structure on it was never in current use. There was an adjacent one.
2 and 2.
Yeah, that came out of current use.
3 and 2A were in current use?
They were not. 3 was not, 2A was, but it came out of current use when I bought it.
So at the beginning of this project, I don't know when you bought it, so
Anyway, last summer.
what was it adjacent to that was in current use? You can't have 2
It was
acres.
adjacent to 17.2 and what is now 17.2.
But
This was all 17.
I'm sorry, it was 2A or 2 that was
2A.
2A? That's the half-acre one?
You know, I don't know if that-
Or whatever it
that's
was,
what-
tiny.
It's one of the squirrely lots.
It wasn't the tiniest one. it was
But
the one
that can't-
surrounded.
How could that be in current use? Because you can't put less than 10 acres in current use.
This was all owned by one person,
Adjacent to.
Right.
right, all owned by one person. David bought a couple of parcels here from that person.
Okay,
At that point,
so you paid the fee back then? Yeah,
I-
and then, and since then you bought 17?
there you go. That's the sequence.
Okay. Okay, and 18 was, okay, so,
18, well, unless it was part of the adjacent one.
But they're in current use and they're staying in current use. They're the same owner. There's no change regardless of the lot size.
well, 3 got bigger. Presumably it took a chunk of 17, which was in current use, and now that part of 3 can't be in current use. Right?
Same owner.
Oh, it is the same owner, okay. So which,
Yes.
I'm sorry, 4 and 5 are not you?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And 4 got bigger, but it got not,
It wasn't in current use.
and it got land that wasn't in current use.
Right.
Because it got a chunk from 5, which was not in current use.
Correct.
Okay. So things not in current use, just traded land between them. And
Right.
2A wasn't in current use, but now it could be. Or maybe,
No, it's being
maybe.
merged, it's being merged into 3. So 2A can't be.
Okay, so it wasn't and it's not.
Correct.
Okay.
Nor will it ever be.
So 3 is you, so it can be in current use and presumably it's still
The
is.
back, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, number 8, waivers, so we got a letter with waivers.
Yes.
Number 9, name, mailing address, and telephone numbers of additional professionals who are authorized to submit materials on behalf of the application.
Yes.
Page 5 is the application fee schedule. So at the top,
Yep.
there, so, George, do you normally fill in this top line on that?
I haven't in the
File,
past.
file number, tax map, lot, date?
I haven't in the past, but I can make sure that I do that. Actually, this isn't the original, right?
This is the amended, that's the original.
The original, no, actually, well, on page 9, they do list the lots that are affected. But that's under subdivision plat requirement checklist.
Okay.
If you want me to, I can transfer that information on there.
If it hasn't been practiced in the past, I don't think it's necessary, but we have to go through these.
Well, I think that we should have at least some indication of, I mean, the dates at the bottom says, like, obviously, when it was filed, but we should at least put one of the tax map and lots on there.
Which one do we put on?
I don't care.
Not 2A.
Thank you, yes. I don't know.
Probably
17?
17, 17's the biggest change.
Yeah.
Do you want me to fill this in? You want to tell me the,
What's the map and lot number what's the map number for this?
28.
So 28?
tax map 28?
Yeah. And lot 17. Just so we make sure that if this got separated, somebody would be able to figure it out. And
I would check that. I would check that. 2817. I'm 28, but I'm not sure 17 is.
Maybe you're right off maybe 28.2, and you know that's 28.
It is 28.
Well, it's 26, yeah.
It's 28.
It is 28.
Well, you just picked one for reference, right?
yes,
Yes.
17 is on
17's the largest lot being
and
changed.
it's on 28.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so on page 5, the application fee. So can you just read which lines have what numbers on them?
Okay, we're going down to lot line adjustment. Administration, $30. Lot line adjustment fee, $100 times 5 lots. Is that 5 lines, or are we moving to 6 lots now?
That may, David might owe you $100. Because at first, we had we were going from 7 to 5, and it changed to 7 to 6.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So don't write about it. I mean,
Okay. That too could be a condition, I'm sure.
I'm sure it can.
Okay. Assuming you're.
I don't think there's any reason to stop this process for that.
Will you write down that condition?
Yes, sir.
One more lot line adjustment fee. Public notice, $100 plus number 4. Notification fees, complete below. LCHIP fee, $25. Notification fees include each abutter, applicant, land agent, professional as identified in item 1 and 2 in the abutter identification form. Number of notifications, 13 times $7, $91. Recording fee, $30 per sheet, $30. Total submitted with application, $776.
Okay, so we need the, just the one, I think that sounds right, except for the $100.
Right. So we have 2 conditions so far, just to keep track. Will you read them back, Judge?
Yes, the first condition was that of a voluntary merger of lots 2A and 3 will be a condition of the approval of the lot line adjustment. And the second one is the $100 fee as condition of the approval for additional lot line adjustment.
Thank you. Next.
And it's signed?
Yes.
Okay. And then page 6, additional costs. I assume that's, there are none, I think.
There are none. Costs incurred by the planning board in reviewing the application, such as engineering, environmental assessment, planner, legal review, as limited in RSA 676:4, shall be passed through the board to the applicant for payment by the applicant. There are none.
Right. And so this has a spot for your signature, I guess, in case there were some.
Yes.
Okay, and then I think we have somewhere we have a plat checklist. So
Page 7?
I don't think we need page 7. Oh,
I think it's page 19.
but was a page 7 submitted?
Yes.
Or were all pages submitted and just not?
Certification and required signatures, see attached. We have a signature page. Butter notification, see attached. Subdivision plat requirement checklist, page 9.
Okay. Should we go through it?
Yes.
Or should I open up a plat? Somebody want to find each item as we go through it?
You got that right side up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the top section is filled in on this page.
Number 1,
Name of subdivision, name and address of owner of record and applicant, name of town of Brookfield. So it's not subdivision, so I'm guessing we're not going to see a name of a subdivision. But
right, proposed lot line adjustments.
name and address of owner of record and
Michael Goddardaro, Marcy Goddardaro, Richard and Rose Zaka, Zip Tie LCC,
They're not the applicants.
Mead Dam Road, Tumble Down Dick Road, Brookfield, New Hampshire.
Who's the applicant?
Name of...
I think they're all applicants.
Yeah, they're all applicants.
The owners are all applying, I think.
Yeah, that's an interchangeable term in this case.
You have name and address?
And my name is on there, you can call me the applicant.
You have name and address for everybody?
Mead Dam Road and Tumble Down.
Not defined and not matched up, but,
Right here, note 2.
oh, excuse me,
Yep.
thank you.
I'm gonna steal one of those, Mr. Chairman, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, if you, to the extent you can help us find stuff,
Okay.
I'm sure that would be helpful.
Number 2, name, license number, seal of surveyor and other professionals such as designer, planner, soil scientist, etc.
Bottom center is my signature and seal.
Right here.
I'm sorry?
Awesome.
They have those,
Number 3, North Arrow, scale, written and graphic.
I'm sorry, hang on.
So
Did
what
you have a
was
question?
Yeah, I just
What was
wondered.
number 2?
Number 2 is name, license number, and seal of the surveyor. Which is,
Oh.
I think here.
Thank you.
But you're happy on number 1? You got names and addresses of everybody?
295 Wentworth
Note
Rd
two.
and P.O. Box 835, you got those?
Okay, and town of Brookfield?
Yep.
Okay.
Number 3, North Arrow, scale, written and graphic, date of plan.
I see a north arrow up here.
Yeah, and what was the rest?
Scale,
Bottom left has a bar scale on it. Center has
Oh,
a
thank you.
verbal scale.
Is a what?
A verbal scale says 1 inch equals 100 feet.
Oh, thank you.
And we have a date of the plan.
26 April 16. That's near bottom center also. There's a little, just to the right of the seal.
right here.
Awesome. Town tax map and lot numbers.
Wait a minute, where's the date?
Just in the little box next to the seal. So it's the, you said April 26th, Brian?
Yeah, 26 April 16, it says the third line up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, town tax map and lot numbers.
They're sprinkled all over. They're in the title block, they're in the adjustment summary, and sprinkled throughout the plan.
Which is probably just what we want.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Title block 28.2, 2A3, 28.4, 28.5,
Over here too.
28.17, and 18.
Okay. Sheet size of paper copies, 22 inches by 34 inches, or as specified by Carroll County Registry of Deeds.
These are 24 by 36, and they are acceptable to the registry.
Thank you.
Number 6, plots shall be at horizontal scale not more than 100 feet to the inch.
And this is 100 feet to the inch, is that
Yes.
right?
Number 7, signature block for planning board endorsement, the lower right-hand corner with 7 lines.
Near the right-hand corner, not the dead lowest, but,
Yep.
and I did 8 lines for extra credit.
You gotta build up that credit when you get it, huh? Okay, 8, locus plan showing general location of the total tract within the town and zoning districts.
On the right.
There, okay, good.
Number 9, vicinity map at scale of town base map.
Is that,
That's a
This-
blow.
what is it,
The
vicinity?
locus is intended to satisfy that.
How would they be different?
It sounds like the same to me.
well, what's our town base map? I don't know what that is. but I'm sure we have.
I think it's your tax map.
Okay, our tax map, oh, there's a overview tax, there's a base map that shows,
Well, there's a page 1 that shows the whole town, but
right,
I always thought it meant the actual sheet, like sheet 28.
What are we asking for that one?
this is a vicinity map at scale of town's base map.
So you look at the scale in feet for the basement?
I don't know. Brian, you're thinking
It's
that,
just
that
located on-
number nine is asking for this whole thing to be, the large view to be at the scale of the tax map?
I look at number 9 as another map on this thing at a different scale,
And
which
you think-
which I believe the locus fulfills that.
Okay. And you didn't specify a scale of the locus, did you?
No, but it is to scale.
And you think it matches whatever our town base map is?
This is 1 inch equals 200 feet.
I mean, you don't, that would take another sheet of
Right.
paper to do that.
And I don't think we want that.
I don't think you do either. So if it needs to be waived, I could add that to my list.
No, I personally think that, I'm not sure what the locus
I'm satisfied
plan
with
versus
those.
vicinity map is. I'm fine.
Me too.
Number 10, red circle, that's on the waiver list.
So number 10 asks for names and addresses of all abutters and all holders of conservation, preservation, or agricultural preservation easements on plat or on separate sheet. And you asked for that to be waived, is that?
Would you repeat that, please?
Number 10, names and addresses of all abutters and all holders of conservation, preservation, or agricultural preservation easements, and in parentheses, on plat or on a separate sheet.
Well, you
And
have,
the application
I don't have the
circle.
addresses of the abutters on the plat, but they are in the application on the abutters list.
Okay, and what about the easements? Conservation, preservation, or agricultural preservation easements? Are there any?
On this property?
Yes.
No.
So that's not applicable, and we've got the abutters on the separate sheet
That's right.
from the notification.
Their names and deed references are on the plat, but not their addresses.
So when you're saying abutters, are you referring, Brian, to the parties involved here or abutters to the periphery of this whole project?
Neighbors touching the property
Okay.
and across the street.
This is
Oh, they are
on the
on-
plat or separate sheet.
They are on here.
And the list is in a separate sheet in the application.
Well, there are probably names here, but not
Yes, there are.
but not
All
addresses.
right, but the map and deed numbers are on
Right.
here.
That's fine.
I think we're good on that, but,
Yes, I think we are.
so you'd had a red circle on that one, on the application?
Yes.
Did I do the red circle?
Somebody, well, it was blank, didn't have a check mark in it, all the other ones
Okay.
did. Somebody,
Checklist I have has all green check
I see
marks.
red ink on George's finger.
well, it might be, but, okay.
Ooh, I like red circles.
Okay, I just noticed there's a check mark there, okay. So, number 11, boundary survey, including bearings, horizontal distances, and location of permanent markers. Curved boundary lines shall show radius, delta, and length.
I will state there are no curved boundary lines here,
Thank you.
and each of these boundaries does have a bearing distance. In the case of them being too small, you might put an L6 there and then go to this chart to find your L6.
And location of permanent markers?
They're all labeled, PCS means pin cap set. They're all labeled what we have found and what we have set. And they are in fact set.
You said a pile of stones?
No, we found a pile of stones. But, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. But we do set piles of stones still, when you have to.
Well, you can't drive a pipe then.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so 11 is okay?
Yep. Number 12, names of abutting subdivisions, streets, driveways, easements, building lines, parks, public space, notation of use of abutting land, and similar facts regarding abutting properties on the plat on a separate sheet. Kind of in the middle of the woods here.
So the street names are on there, right? The one street?
Yep.
Mead Dam Road. But actually, that raises a question here, Brian, in this vicinity here, mostly on the Zacher property, a little bit over here on 17. You have approximate Woods Road, crossing over several lots here as well. So are those easements?
Not to my knowledge, they are, no. I found nothing in the record to suggest that they were easements. There were a lot of woods roads out in the woods, especially in the days of four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and snowmobiles. And the vast minority of them are usually easements.
Okay, thank you.
So number 12 has a long list of things. I think my feeling is that what is needed for this project is here.
I agree.
So is everyone okay with 12? Names of abutting subdivisions, streets, driveways, easements, building lines, parks, public spaces, notation of use of abutting land, and similar facts regarding abutting properties.
Yes.
So it's
I think-
not applicable.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Number 13, location of all property lines, their dimensions, lot areas in square feet and acres, lots numbered according to town tax map system. Contact town assessor clerk for lot numbering.
So we have,
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that's on page, let's see here.
you have acres and square feet?
That would, the easiest place to find that is in this chart right here.
Okay.
But it's also on here.
Mhm.
And each one. And these final tax map designations are your recommendations, is that correct?
Here it is.
No, they're existing lots.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
They're all
adjusted
adjusted
lots.
lots. So he's not changing any number.
Okay.
That it's entitled Abutter
Right.
Notification.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I think that that's not an issue.
All right, thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think that we see property lines and their dimensions. Lot areas in square feet and acres are noted.
Yep,
Lots are numbered as they exist today,
yep.
right? So we're not changing any lot numbering.
And the assessor was signed off on the lot number for the butters.
Well, I think that number 13 is lot numbering for within the project, but this would be used for subdivision as well.
Yep,
This same checklist, so I think that's why this is here. So
okay,
I think for that part of this one is here.
we're satisfied.
I think 13 is good to go.
14, location and amount of frontage on public right-of-way. We have those on the Dick Road.
And on the lake, which I think also qualifies as public right of way.
15, location of building setback lines.
I'm going to request you accept a note form on that, because adding setback lines to this plan would be really, really
Note 3.
busy. It's note 3, yes.
Setbacks are all on note 3.
Okay. Sounds good.
16, existing and or proposed buildings and other structures. All the existing buildings are on the plan.
Yep, correct.
17, location of any existing or proposed easements, including utility easements and land to be dedicated to public use within the conditions of such dedication.
There are proposed easements, and it's because of the lot line adjustment. As Mead Dam Road goes through Richard's land, the new line's gonna form here, and an easement's gonna go like this to get to lot 2. So there'll be easement through this portion of Mike's new land in favor of both 3 and 2, and then it's gonna cross lot 3 onto lot 2.
Why does this appear to be double wide? You've got 3 sets of dashed lines.
That's a center line right there. And the reason I did a center
Oh,
line.
we have 25-foot width here.
Yes.
Is that it?
And there's a center line, that's the key in the center line of this detail here, which is the bearings and distances of it.
Oh, that's just, okay, more
Correct.
detail of this right here.
Yeah, so L14, for example, is just too darn small, but it'd be
Mhm.
that little
Yeah.
piece right there.
Okay.
Okay, so I think the answer is that the easement information is here. Is that,
Yes,
I think
proposed ingress egress easement.
Okay.
Number 18, existing and proposed water supplies and mains, culverts, drains, septic systems, and sewers, proposed connections, or alternative means of providing water supply and storage disposal.
I believe that's on the waiver list.
You have there's a letter here someplace.
It's in this part here.
Yeah.
I thought I saw it there.
You'll find it.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah. Waiver list,
Mr. Chairman, this
proposed septic areas, proposed well locations. Yep, thank you. So 18 and 19 are circled for that? 18 waiver, 19 waiver proposed. Okay, stick with the water supplies mains. 19, 20, 18 soil test pits, 17 soil and wetland delineations, 15 water courses and wetlands.
I don't think that makes sense in this section. The number, because 15 says water courses and wetlands, but 15 was about location of building setback lines, so I'm not sure that number.
Could the difference be the regulation compared to the checklist?
Yeah, it could be.
I think the letter is key to the regulations.
Okay, so 18 is talking about proposed and existing water supplies, sewer connections, alternative means of providing water and sewage disposal.
Did you put septic systems on, the existing septic systems on these properties on the plat?
I don't know if they're still there. I may have removed them because it's just so darn busy.
So busy, yeah.
Is that one?
Yeah, that's Richard's septic system and that little blur, EDA, yes, right there.
And those are the only two?
Is there one for
Yes.
this cabin as well?
Second cabin on your brother's lot? Yeah, the same system, right?
The one that's closer to the
Yeah.
water?
Well, they're both closer to the water.
It's closer than this one. Oh.
I don't apparently. I think that square might be it. I can't read it though.
I see it,
Too
Yeah.
small and.
right behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have setback requirements for septic systems?
Mhm. For building, I might think you do.
So that,
That's state.
is there, well, you're the expert, right? You do this on, is there a setback for a boundary line from a septic system?
It's a state law of 10 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is, and it's small. And-
Yes.
And the Zacher system is 10 feet from that?
Yes.
Exactly.
Zacher has a state-approved septic system.
Right, but you're moving a lot line next to it,
He's safe.
because it's 10 feet away.
At least 10 feet, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 19, existing and proposed streets with names, classifications, grades, travel, service, and right-of-way widths.
I hope you ask for a waiver. For anything, well, I don't know. So the proposed,
It's on
because,
there.
well, yeah, but grade, classification, grades, travel surface
Oh,
for the existing streets, I mean, anyway.
Well, it's a right of way. It's not a street.
Tumble down Dick?
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
It would be a more important question if we were creating building lots.
I agree. I
You know,
think,
then we'd want to know a little bit more about the roads.
yep, no, I think we're fine on 19. 20 is final road profile, center line, stationing, grades, and elevations, cross sections, all elevations referring to US coast and geodetic survey benchmarks.
Not applicable.
Right, they're not proposing any roads.
21, location and width of existing and proposed driveways.
They're not proposing any.
Not at this time, other than in that easement, there'll be driveways. But we're not proposing at this time, and they will need shoreland permitting.
And here are the waivers, the numbers on this And this is different, but they're from different documents.
Brian, which regulations were you referring to on the numbering system that you used on the waivers?
The subdivision regulations.
Ours?
Yes.
Okay.
Location of all watercourses, ponds, standing water, shorefront wetlands, existing proposed foliage lines, rock ledges, stone walls, open space to be preserved, and any historic resources or man-made natural resources. Waived. Number two.
I'm sorry. Did he ask for a waiver on that?
Yes.
Okay. And the justification is that, who cares?
Who cares at this time?
Right, because nothing's
There
being
is a time
developed.
to get wetland delineation.
Because there's nothing being developed.
Exactly.
So again, the only concern here would be if we had those delineations, we'd be able to see that there might or might not be a buildable chunk of land. But I think we already discussed in detail that.
I agree with that
This
point
is-
completely, but you'd be surprised how little wetland we've shown.
That's what I've been told,
Yeah.
and I believe the people that have told me that, so. So we're okay with 22.
23, existing and proposed topographical contours based on USGS topographical data, with spot elevations where necessary, depiction of steep slopes,
And
requesting waiver.
are you requesting a waiver on that? Okay.
Yes,
I think, and with the justification being that you're not doing any development.
correct.
Okay.
24, soil and wetlands delineation. Again, no development.
And since we're talking topography and soils, note 5 does discuss the predominant soils based on this government survey, SES. The steepest slope out there, according to them, is D, which is a buildable slope. But it's Gloucester, which is Group 1 soils. Woodstock Bice is I think a Group 3, which is pretty good. Henniker Gloucester is a super soil for building and septic, and Acton's pretty good. So, the web soils puts a positive light on this land.
Right, okay, good. Thank you for including that.
Okay. 25, location of percolation tests and test results, certification of town official witnessing the test, and outline of 4,000 square foot septic area with any applicable septic setback lines. Not at this time.
So again, I think the only question would be on the lot 2, right? And I think it sounds like we're willing to waive that,
Yes,
so.
there's a lot of land out there.
Yep.
26, location of existing and proposed wells with 75-foot radius on its own lot. Same as 25. Same logic for waiving.
Well,
Did you note the wells on this?
Yes. Michael and Marcy have 2 wells here, and Richard's well is, I know I've got it, right there. Those are the only 2 wells I know of.
Oh, right here, approximate well, here.
so you didn't draw the 75-foot circle around Zacher, but that's happening on the other side. I think there's no lot line.
Adjustment.
I mean, that,
Well, the reason for that checklist item is for new lots, to make sure they can support wells. These are existing wells, and that line's not moving. I mean, it is what it is.
so this one though, this lot line is moving?
Yep. it
Which-
used to
which
be-
way
used
is
to be
it?
Right there.
So you're
That was
actually,
it.
it was outside the 75-foot setback,
Okay, yep.
and now it's not.
Okay.
Is that, if I understand our regulation, we wouldn't want that. Is that,
If that was available for a septic system, yes. But there's no way a septic system would go in here because it's too close to the water's edge.
okay. But per the letter, per the letter of the zoning, we wouldn't normally allow a lot line adjustment like that, that would put the well setback into somebody else's, into another lot. But I think you're saying the justification is that you couldn't, the reason for the setback is for a septic system. And
Correct.
And a septic system cannot be built there
Correct.
because it's too close to
Too
the lake.
close to water. Correct.
Because it's not 75 feet or whatever it would need to be from the lake.
But the other point is a finer point. When, when you're discussing 75-foot wells in these checklists, it's when you're creating new lots that you make sure they're wide enough so they don't have that problem.
Right.
Right.
But this lot was wide enough, and it did have its well entirely with its well setback entirely within the lot, and now
Okay.
you're undoing that. Right. So
Yes.
those are the kinds of things we would
Correct.
normally not
Yeah.
want to have happen without putting some scrutiny on it. But
I will agree.
I think I mean, we can talk about it if everyone else wants to, but I think if your justification is that septic can't be there because it's in the lake setback
Mhm.
for septic anyway. Because
Yes.
the well happens to be at the lake, roughly.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So we're okay with this one? Even though it's,
I'm okay with it, I understand the explanation.
okay.
Number 27, base flood elevations and flood hazard areas based on available FEMA maps.
Note 9 discusses FEMA flood planning.
Perfect.
After that, we go to other information where applicable. I'll read through these. 28, plans for stormwater management and erosion sediment control. 29, grading and drainage plans. 30, copy of state subdivision approval for septic system, septic design approval, certification by septic designer of adequacy of existing systems. 31, alteration of terrain permit from the Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. 32, town or state driveway permit. 33, copy of any deed restrictions and all deeds covering land to be used for public purposes, easements and right-of-way over property to remain in private ownership, and rights of drainage across private property submitted in a form satisfactory to Brookfield Town Council. 34, any other federal or state permits. 35, preliminary designs of bridges, culverts that may be required. 36, any additional reports or studies deemed necessary by the planning board to make an informed decision, including but not limited to traffic, school, fiscal, and environmental impact analysis. The board reserves the right to request such additional reports after an application has been accepted as complete, as well as before acceptance, with such reports to be provided at the applicant's expense. All the read other information is not applicable. There's no construction going on at this point.
I would agree with that assessment.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's signed?
Yes.
Awesome. And
Included are
there's the abutters?
the abutters
Mr. Chairman,
with town map. Yes.
I do want to report that I have not received, just for the record, I have not received a postal receipt from Richard and Christina Morgan, nor from Michael and Marcy Gattadaro, but they were sent.
Okay. Thank you. Authority to act as agent. Lot line adjustments, Mead Dam Road, Brookfield, New Hampshire. Signed by Michael Gattadaro, Marcy Gattadaro, Richard Zacher, Rose Zacher, David Gattadaro, all parties involved.
for who to act as agent, Brian?
Yes. Brian D. Broad, LLS of Land Tech Service Corp., is authorized to act on our behalf until otherwise notified as agent for the above-mentioned lot line adjustment application.
You ready for a motion? Or, I guess,
Do we have to go into deliberation for that?
well, we would, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the process is that we would have a motion to decide that this is either complete or not complete,
Right.
and that assuming it was complete, then if it's not complete, we decide it's not complete, then we would be writing a letter saying what is missing, what the problems are. If we find it to be complete, then we've accepted the application, a timer starts, we have to act on it pretty quickly. We can, I think we can then, if we want to, go into deliberations at that point and potentially even approve it.
But right now, let's have a motion on the completeness.
Sure. You ready for that?
Yeah,
Okay. I
Can we do
move,
that in public hearing?
sure.
do you want to ask the public? We're in public hearings. I mean, you could ask if you want, if public input. We do have,
I think they'd agree.
they might be concerned that we're not going to approve it. I don't know. And might want to make the case. I move that we accept the application for proposed lot line adjustment between Guttadaro Trust, Richard and Rose Zacher Trust, and Zip Time LLC as complete.
I thought there were waivers that we have to deal with. Should that be in the motion?
I think it's
That's
implied.
the next one.
Well, I know, I mean, the waivers would be for information that they haven't supplied. I think that I mean, if we want a different motion, we can do that, but I think implied by my motion is that that the information that was provided and the waivers that were asked for are sufficient for it to be considered complete. So if we want a different motion, I'm happy to retract that motion and we can try something else if that would make.
As long as we're on the same page, that's fine.
Okay, so that's my motion, that we accept it as this application as complete.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Application's complete. Now we go into deliberation for,
I think you'd close public hearing, is that right, George? Is that nice?
Usually what we've done in the past is we've actually closed, the deliberation was for the motion. So we've really kind of combined those two. So the next one, which you'll find in there, would be to determine if the planning board accepts the lot line adjustment. You'll find it in the, in the agenda, Mr. Chairman. You'll find there's two deliberations. So officially, we haven't really closed this planning board. A lot of times in the past, the planning board would close
Public hearing and then do the motion to accept it?
Yes, then do the deliberation, and then have a reopening, or not necessarily reopening, but maybe it could be a second public hearing in order to determine the acceptability of the application itself.
The merits.
so we just determined the application's complete. Now, we'll go into deliberation to consider the application for approval. That's where the conditions come in.
Mr. Chairman, is the
Yes.
public hearing still open?
Yes,
I guess I would just want to be assured that the minutes will reflect the waivers were discussed and,
yes.
okay, approved by the motion.
That's what.
Okay.
But
Yes.
completeness of the application.
Okay, good.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure a clarification on that. From what I understood from the conversation, the waivers were approved for the purpose of considering the application as complete, but they were not approved in and of themselves as far as the merits of the application. That's the way I'm understanding what we've talked about so far. Am I wrong about that?
No, we're gonna go into deliberation, consideration of the application for approval. So we have the application complete. We have conditions. Will you read back the conditions, Judge?
Yes. The first condition is that of a voluntary merger of lots 2A and 3 to be a condition of the approval of a lot line adjustment. The second one is the $100 fee as a condition of the approval for the additional lot line adjustment.
Okay. So I'll take a motion for approval of the applications and conditions.
I'll take a whack at it. So, Mr. Chairman, I move that we conditionally approve the application for proposed lot line adjustments between Guttadero Trust, Rich and Rose Acker Trust, and Zip Tie LLC with two conditions. One, that lots 2A and 3 go through the voluntary merger process. And two, that the additional $100 fee for the additional lot as part of the lot line adjustment is paid.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The application's accepted,
Did you vote?
Yes, I would.
subject to,
Aye.
You're
the
very
application
quiet.
is
You're never
subject
quiet.
to the conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
So, Mr. Chairman, just a couple bookkeeping things where we're gonna send a letter. Is that, George will send a letter with that outlining the
Yes.
conditions and the approval?
Yes.
Once the conditions are met, the application's filed.
Right. So, you guys will come back to us, I think, once,
We will get the plat to you, the Mylar, the $100, and the merger form.
you're not gonna leave the Mylar with us now?
There was some red spots on it. I didn't notice until I picked it up. Don't know if my wife would take that at the registry. So I'll let you keep that, but let me replace that if you don't mind.
That'd be great.
Okay.
In a tube?
Pardon me?
In a tube?
Yes,
We don't
and a two.
Sort of squander our resources.
Okay.
And we'll sign
Do
the
we need to
document
sign
before
this?
we send it.
We will, once the conditions are met, we'll sign, I think. I think that's the process, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
would,
And these don't take long. This is a form and a check.
right? And I think just, we're still in the public hearing, we probably ought to end that at some point.
We're in the deliberation.
Yeah, we didn't ever end the public hearing, though. At some point, we probably ought to have, but,
I'll end it right now. Public hearing's over. What's that?
well, public comment is still coming up.
Well, thank you.
So thank you for, I mean, it's helpful that you guys came and talked to us ahead of time. You know, so I think we were able to work out a couple things that would have been hiccups, you know, when we actually are going and
Thanks for making it easy with the explanation of the order of the lot line adjustments.
You're welcome.
Great detail on your maps, Brian.
Thank you. Nope, every time something like that happens, the plan is improved.
Back in, right?
Okay, 5 minutes? Take 5? Thank you.
Sure.
thanks.
Thanks, Dave. 5-minute recess. The meeting's back in session. Number 8, old business. amending the rules of procedure, benefit notification forms, gravel pits. Deletion of references CIP.
If I may?
Yep.
This document, the one that's colored in like this, I made a copy of the rules of procedure, but it didn't make sense to make copies for all of us since this has to be certified by the town clerk first. So what I did was I made this document here to show all the changes that were done in the rules of procedure.
Okay.
Did you want me to go through it, Mr. Chairman?
Quickly.
Okay. First page, you'll notice the part that's blocked out, that has been expunged from the document. The next page, which is listed as page 18 of 20, that's listed where it says gravel pits, that has been added to the document.
I'm sorry, so, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the first one. So, committee 17.2, capital improvement committee, program committee.
Yes.
Do we want, I know that we asked you to get rid of everything that referred to CIP.
Yes.
Do we really want to get rid of that? Because the town may go back to having a CIP.
Well, we don't have one now, so.
I know, but we had this was sitting here for all the years anyway when we didn't have one, but I'm just asking the question.
Mr. Chairman, I have an answer for that.
Okay.
I have kept all of the rules of procedure, all the changes we've had over the years, and they are all kept on our server. So I can go back, and because they're archived on the server, and plus I also, anytime there's a change in any of our documents, such as zoning ordinance or the rules of procedure, I do hand over a document to the archivist too. So we have them electronically, and we also have a hard copy kept.
So you're saying, don't worry, because we can always get it back
That's
easily if we want it. Okay.
And
There's a
I,
trail of changes too.
and I think what would be helpful is say, capital improvement program removed at such and such annual meeting. So,
That's in the record of the meeting, right?
there is, but if you look in this document, you're gonna be missing 17.2. What's 17.2? You're gonna renumber
17.2 will be master plan committee.
You're gonna move, oh, you're gonna move them up?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, and that's what I had already done in this copy of the rules of procedure. Should I go on, Mr. Chairman?
Well, actually, hadn't.
I think capital improvement, I just think it was just dump the whole thing right off, expunge the whole thing.
And that's what I did.
Thank you.
So could you renumber that, George? So that
It's already renumbered in the document.
it wasn't on what you sent to us.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, there has been some corrections that were made to that. This document does have 17.2 Master Plan Committee.
Okay,
Thank you.
Number 20, gravel pits, this is what's added.
Yes, that's been added. The next page,
So George,
yes,
do we need, is it, well, a couple things jump out at me. First, there's not a space between 20.2 and the word the. So just a typographical thing, and I'm wondering whether we really need that first line of 20.2 to be bold. Is that what we do everywhere?
No.
let's see, no, it isn't, okay, let's put it this way. Look at the next page, where it says amendments, and you'll notice, because there are some items underneath planning board rules and regulations, revision history. In other words, I just did that to conform with different documents, that different parts of this document. If, it makes no difference to me whether we have that involved or not.
Well, the one on the amendment section is bold and underlined, so I don't know. I mean,
I'd just space it between 20.1 and 20.2.
I would say try to be consistent with what we've got elsewhere, but
I
I
agree.
mean, we've got it indented underneath there, so I'm not sure it needs to be bold, but.
Okay, whatever the board decides, it's fine with me.
Well,
No bold and space between 20.1 and 20.2. Okay?
If I may?
Yes.
D and E, I didn't find until, actually, I don't know what I did with the original language, but this was confusing to me when I read this. Looks like we're, in D, we're saying that after the inspection, we file it and send it to the planning board and the code enforcement officer, but then after that, the planning board determines compliance. So I guess I was a little confused. Is this what we really want to say? Oh, sorry. The gravel pit inspection report will be filed, like put away or filed with the planning board?
Planning board and the code, copy to the code enforcement officer for file. He requested it.
Okay, never mind. I withdraw I'm reading it a little differently now, so, never mind, sorry.
Thank you.
On the next page, on number 13, under Planning Board Rules Regulations, I updated that because of, that this is going to be a new document, a new amended document.
Yes.
On that, George, item 13 is the one you added.
Yes.
Why is the next line numbered as item 14? Shouldn't that be not part of that list?
Excellent point. I'm just, you know, you have an excellent point. I wouldn't personally remove that, but that's how it's been since I've been a part of the board over the years.
Will you remove it, Josh?
Yeah, I would just put a little, a white, line of white space there to separate it from the,
Okay.
just a blank line, and then amended rules all the way to the left.
So a space between 13 and 14, or remove the number 14.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm suggesting, so.
On the next page, under where it says appendices, I added the 3 new appendices, W, X, and Y.
So George, to be consistent with all the others, it looks like we need a period at the end of Y. Gravel pit inspection report period.
Yes, thank you. Next page has the abutter notification form and other requirements. This is part of B. So there was already some parts there, but what happened was we changed the wording in the 4th paragraph where we made sure that the assessor clerk was not responsible for anything that had to do with abutters not listed properly.
So the only thing that's changed from the previous one is number 4?
Yes. Yeah, well, no, there are some other things. For instance, in the title, where it says "and other requirements," that was added. There was a few things.
Okay. Because this is, what you just handed out is markedly different what you sent us. I couldn't figure out what was different. Anyhow.
Well, yes, what I did send out actually had some italicized and some words that were underlined, I believe. I removed all the italicized and underlined from this document.
Okay, thank you.
So 3 and 5 should be not bold as well,
Okay, so remove bold from number 5
and 3.
and 3, okay. Next page is the Appendix S. I think that's self-explanatory that we added that. The annual planning board meeting minutes verification. Oh, actually, no. This was, this didn't have to be added. I'm sorry. This was added previously to a previous rules procedure. T. Next page, public hearing notification form. This is actually added previously, but it was held off as far as being added to the rules of procedure so that we wouldn't waste paper. So I now incorporate it as part of our new rules of procedure. Appendix U, notice of public hearing to amend the zoning ordinance that was also placed earlier this year. Appendix B, notice of public hearing to amend the zoning ordinance town bulletin board and website. That goes along with you also. It has to do with an issue that happened with the zoning ordinance. There was There was no separate document stating what happens when we have a zoning ordinance that's brought before for the town meeting, and as a result, there was no documents that were left here on the table originally, and so now that actually specifically states that the documents have to be here in the area for the public to be able to witness. Appendix W, that's recurrent activities of the planning board, and Appendix X, which I'll, for some reason here, it's at the left-hand side, it should be in the center. I'll adjust that. Gravel pit inspection notification letter. Last page, Appendix Y, gravel pit inspection report. I would like to add that the last line at the bottom will be extended.
Okay. Diane?
George didn't print this out, but when I reviewed and I did it a little haphazardly, admittedly, I didn't scrutinize the whole document. But I did pick up on page 7 of the existing rules of procedure. We had discussed, I believe it was at the last meeting, if not the previous meeting, that the meeting day of the month needed to be changed from the second Monday to the third Thursday. And I thought that was gonna happen without, so that needs to change.
That's all over the place, too.
No, I only found it in one spot, in the
In the
rules of
subdivision?
procedure.
In the subdivision?
No, she's talking about page 7 of the
The rules of
document.
procedure.
Okay.
So that would be right over here, Mr. Chairman. On the meeting schedule.
It's in the zoning and everything, I found it. Will you change that, Judge?
Yes,
Will you just shoot through the rules of procedure and find that one too? I
Yes.
mean, the zoning ordinance?
yes.
Do we have to have a vote to do that? Do we have to put in a warrant article to change the planning board meeting on the zoning ordinance?
It's not substantiated. It's not substantial, what's the word?
I'm just asking.
Substantive.
That's it.
Is it really in the zoning?
No.
I'd be surprised, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past us, but I'd be surprised
I saw it tonight.
in the zoning, not in the
You're in the subdivision?
Subdivision, yeah, subdivision.
subdivision. We can just change, I think, or
That's
maybe
where it
we
is,
need a
Judge,
public
in the
hearing.
subdivision.
But
Maybe change the words to a regular meeting or whatever, so we don't have to do it again. What does it say? Specifically, it says specifically at the first or second
Yeah,
Tuesday?
yeah.
We
So
should
it says something about the selectmen too. A bunch of, well, I won't discuss it yet. Yes,
And one more thing that popped out at me, sorry, this may sound minor, but, on page 12 of the current rules of procedure, under public notice, 13.1, public notice shall be given by posting in 2 public places, including the exterior town office bulletin board, the Stone Corners bulletin board, and the town website.
Oh.
That sounded like 3 to me, not 2. So, I don't know,
well, the
which is
town,
right? Do we delete one of the sites, or do we change 2 to 3?
the website isn't a public place, it's a thing.
It's a public place. It's a cyberspace.
From this all comes from 91A. You know, if you read the 91A RSA, the website, the town website is sufficient as one of the public posting places.
Right.
But you still,
But we went through that, we're keeping 2, right?
you gotta be clear, that's all. I think
Alright.
that's all Diane is saying, keep it
Right,
clear.
it's just inconsistent, you know,
Yeah.
you're saying 2, but there's 3 listed.
I would suggest
I don't want to acknowledge
change.
the web until they work the bugs out. It's been a while.
Anyhow, I don't care, I'm just pointing it out.
In the interest of the last 3 minutes we got, we should, table this stuff?
Which stuff?
The rest of old business, I want to get the minutes approved before we get out of here.
What, like you turn into a pumpkin at 9?
Yeah, we have to vote for extensions and everything else.
Oh my gosh, taking a vote.
Because we don't all stay up until like,
I know.
I don't want to stay.
you have lunch at like 2 a.m.
How do you know when I had lunch?
You know,
How did you know
because
that?
you're always so chipper when it's time to go to sleep.
I'm gonna table old business till the next meeting and move on to approving the minutes of the May 19th meeting.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, before we go there, did we want to suggest a change that, Diane, to change 2 to 3 or leave it as is for the posting places?
I think we should change it to 3,
It should be accurate.
right?
Yeah.
It's a place now.
I'm just saying that George, we shouldn't leave George hanging trying to figure out what the hell we were trying to do.
Thank you.
I thought you wrote that down.
So,
I have that one.
okay, so we need a motion for that?
Yes. I motion that we make the changes as amended. I'll clean that up.
You want me to take a stab at this? So I would move, if I may,
I retract my motion. Go ahead.
thank you. I would move that on the rules of procedure, 13.1 be clarified to indicate that the posting is in 3 public places.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. I mean, the motion carries. Thank you. The rest of old business is tabled. Please review we need a vote to extend the meeting now.
Mr. Chairman, I
Right.
move that we extend the meeting to handle our remaining business.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Does everyone have a copy of the minutes?
That's not on the agenda.
It's not mine.
So this is May 19th, is that?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, at the top of page 2, the owners, it says David and Michael Godadero. I think it was Michael and some other name, right? David isn't one of them. He's Zip Tie,
David is zip tie.
right? So
Marcy.
Marcy's, yeah, that's the name I couldn't remember. So I think it should be changed David to Marcy there.
And add zip tie. Oh, it's in there.
Yeah, Zip Tie's there.
Do you see that one, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Add David to Marcy. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, on page 2, under item 5A, some of the lots are listed as non-conforming. Some of them are silent. Do we want to list all the ones that are non-conforming?
Which ones are silent? Just 2A?
2A, which is non-conforming, but it doesn't say so. And lot 5 is, are you conforming? Your lot's non-conforming. So lot 5 would also be marked, should be marked as non-conforming. Lot 17 is
Conforming.
17 is non-conforming now because it doesn't have
So
the lake.
It wasn't non-conforming on,
I believe 17 was conforming, he's got frontage on Tumbledown Dick Road.
But not enough, it has some on the lake, but not
That's
enough.
And not enough on the, that's right, not enough on the lake. So it's a non-conforming.
but it was an existing lot, right?
Yes, it's allowed to be a lot, but it's non-conforming. Because it doesn't conform to our current zoning.
Did it conform on May 19th? Oh,
No.
No.
okay. Lot 18 did conform on.
Yes, I believe that's true.
Will you add non-conforming to 5 and 17, Judge?
In 2A?
2A, yeah. 2A, 5, and 17, I
And,
think.
okay,
Yeah.
and should I add conforming to lot 18?
No.
No.
Hey, what do you have for 3? 3 is non-conforming.
3 says non-conforming.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well, actually, I don't think Brian was the one that was pointing out that they were conforming or non-conforming. Oh, yes, he was, sorry.
Yeah,
He was,
he was doing that through the whole course.
yeah.
There is some explanation of that in Part B.
Yeah, that's what, but you're right. You're right, you did.
So the inspection report's gonna look like this, and not like that. Says all these extra squares.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. I noticed that too, for some reason. But yes, you are right. It will have the correct number of squares, 2 in each section.
Which one do I check?
Motion?
I move to accept the Thursday, May 19th meeting minutes as amended.
Mhm. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting minutes are accepted as amended. Member comments? Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Public comments?
Mr. Chairman, did you want to also go over the minutes of the public hearing for June 6th? I'm sorry. That's my public comment.
Yes, why not?
It's one page.
Thank you. You have that?
I don't have, I thought I had everything, but
Diane, do you have one?
I'm all set, thank you.
Yeah, you have it?
no, I was wrong, I did. I did 2 copies.
I have two as well.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a proposal or point out something. The date where the signature is incorrect. Actually, I'm sorry, that is correct, but the date at the bottom, it says planning board minutes, 6/9/16 should be 6/6.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes for Monday, June 6th, 2016, as amended.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. Minutes accepted. Public comments. Oh, member comments. Yes.
We've now had a couple meetings in a row where I think that it wasn't just me that was concerned whether or not we'd have a quorum. So I guess my comment is twofold. One, we should somehow try to encourage the elected members to attend and participate. And secondly, I think we should, I don't have a concrete proposal, but I think we should magically make more alternates appear and participate.
Rob, I agree with you 100%. As far as elected members attending, that's their duty. They ran for office, they were elected. They should be here. I don't know. I feel like acting like a mother hen chasing these guys around. You know, they know right from wrong. If you think it's appropriate to give them a reminder, I will.
I don't have a specific proposal. I'm just,
You know,
one of these times, one of
it almost
us,
happened tonight.
one of us is gonna have something that comes up, or we're gonna be out of town or whatever, and all of a sudden we're not gonna have a quorum, right? And that just, especially with people coming with applications and stuff like that, it's just, not only does our normal business not get done, but, we're not doing our duty to the town.
And running the way we are, we can't take a hit. I mean, David had a fire tonight, and if you didn't have the fire, he was gonna be in class. And if you got stuck at the State House today, we just missed. If suppose Rob, me, Rick, or Diane didn't show up.
Why weren't you at the fire?
He had his commitment here.
Yeah.
Do we have rules of procedure or some type of internal policy that if you have circumstances that you can't attend a meeting, that they contact the chair?
Yes, that is part of the rules of procedure.
Has that been followed?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, when I've missed, I've tried to send you an email and I've tried to
Yeah,
CC,
it has been
CC
followed,
George.
but
The current offenders.
the current offenders,
Following. Although it sounded like you knew that Dave was
yes,
out,
yeah,
so.
David,
I mean, if they're reporting.
David
that
gives
they're not-
notice, Rich gives notice, I'm sure Diane hasn't missed yet, but I'm sure she'll give notice.
I would say as long as somebody gives notice and but that's the polite thing to do, I suppose.
Well, maybe that's a message if you're gonna miss call.
But, you know, we've always been open to wanting more people in town to become alternates. How we get that message out, I don't know.
Does anybody know anyone that they think would want to be an alternate?
I don't have any friends.
Well, let's just say if anybody knows of anyone that may be interested in becoming an alternate, I mean, at the town report, we mention that all the time. You know, come down, we need alternates.
Do we have anything on the,
I don't know if anybody reads that.
I don't believe we do.
that should be an easy start, is to just notice it on the website that, you know, the planning board is looking for alternates.
There are many committees looking for alternates or support.
How about we make it mandatory that everybody comes to the next planning board meeting with an alternate in tow?
Should we offer food or something else to get people to come?
That would work. Food, you wouldn't believe what food and swag can drag in, right, Rob?
You know, I mean, engineers especially, man.
Yeah.
Barbecue every
Yeah.
third Thursday.
Slaughter a pig. Title, I'm sure the selectmen will send a pig in for you.
You would.
But everybody eats after the meeting, though.
I mean, if they know you're gonna give out ball caps, they'd be all line. They'd run out.
Caps that say make zoning great again.
No, we can do better than that. Pizza night every third Thursday, Comeau.
They won't fall asleep after.
It's okay.
So, the
As
room
long as
will-
we have a quorum, we're
I need to
okay.
have an excuse.
the room will be full.
Yeah, I'll ask my neighbors. I mean, I don't even hear any complaints out of people anymore, so it's, you know, some people used to complain a lot about things, so I would tell them, why don't you get involved, come to the planning board meeting.
They complain to the selectmen.
Paving's next week.
What?
We're gonna pave Stoneham next week.
So is that end complaints or start complaints?
Both.
Yes. Different set of complaints. Just kidding, we're not
Oh, I was
paving
gonna
next
say,
week. We're gonna put culverts in.
That was a good point,
I
Rob.
was gonna say, something's missing if you're gonna do that.
Any more comments?
Is the review of the land use planning changes going to occur sometime before the next planning changes occur? Because at least if everybody would just read them over, just so, you know.
Can we talk about that in May?
Well, the last meeting, we said that the meeting before that, we said we were actually gonna do that as part of the meeting. We're gonna go through it quickly, but just go through it just so we're aware of any changes that might affect our zoning ordinances, because there were a lot of enacted legislation.
How can I write that up to put it on?
Well, it's on here.
It's on the agenda. You
It's on
It's
just
on
whack-
old
you just-
business.
It's always on old business.
That should be first on old business next time. So we had it.
And I think everybody was sent a copy.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
because it's easier to look at it when you're at home on the computer anyway, so.
I actually was ready to, I actually finally read them, Ed.
Um,
I'll reserve my comments till we discuss it.
So, speaking of the agenda, I think that the minutes we just reviewed, I think that Dave and Diane had volunteered to do something with associated with the ADUs.
Yeah.
So we may want to just get that on the agenda at some point, so
Yes,
that give them a reason to actually do it, so they.
did David or did you mention
already?
that,
We did.
that you'd be ready for next time? David said, when he said he wasn't coming to the meeting,
He just didn't want to review my ADU stuff that I sent him.
he said the ADU will have to be next month, no problem.
Okay, so that'll be on the agenda next month. Awesome.
ADU committee.
And Mr. Chairman, sometime in the future, it doesn't matter when, it was mentioned about tiny house ordinances. And I believe the selectmen just voted
Yurts or tents.
the yurts or tents, and that's not acceptable. And I just think we're gonna have to address this sooner than later, instead of waiting for people, because it's something that's on the horizon.
They're on wheels, right?
They can be, and they can just be smaller
Don't
houses.
they come on
that-
wheels?
They do.
You should read the zoning ordinance. They're not allowed.
But perhaps we should allow it, or look into how other municipalities have come up with zoning ordinances that would allow a smaller home than we have.
How do you come up with, not calling it a trailer if it comes on wheels? And how do you get under the 640 square feet?
I think he's proposing that we consider changing those aspects of the zoning so that some additional classes of homes or dwellings would be allowed. Is that?
That's exactly what I mean.
How many square feet just baseline is a tiny house?
I think they go down to 250.
I think it was smaller than that. My wife loves HGTV.
Yeah, we
So-
watched it last night.
So they have some that are like down to 130 square feet. I mean, it's crazy.
So if you drop your zoning down to that, what's to stop someone from building a 300 square foot house?
Nothing.
The town voted on.
Nothing. It's
$650.
Well, the town would have to vote on the change. Right, but if the town says 150, then it's 150. The town says tents are okay, then yurts are okay, right? So.
This is just member comments discussion right now, but I think you're opening up a lot of other issues by trying to put something in that I think is already covered in the zone.
Well, it is, but if I wanted to build a tiny
Under
house.
trailers, manufactured homes, etc.
Right, covered by not allowing.
Yes.
Well, manufactured homes are allowed,
Mm-hmm.
it's just that
Well,
mobile
yeah,
homes are.
right.
If you take the wheels off and you plunk it on a foundation, it's not a mobile home anymore,
think
and then it's just not.
manufactured was the nomenclature for mobile homes before modular homes were around.
So an individual of the town could create a warrant article which would show the whole new class of tiny houses and how that would be handled, and then the town would vote on it.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
With appropriate signatures.
That could also include yurts and other alternative
Anything
type.
with 25 signatures.
What kind of warrant article is that?
Petition.
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 I guess that's what my question was.
So if somebody went that, if we as a group weren't taking seriously some concerns, somebody could go out and gather 25 signatures, document some kind of warrant article. We would hold a public hearing. They'd submit it with you guys, right? We'd end up being notified and hold a public hearing related to it. And we would recommend it or not recommend it, and the people would vote on it. And it would either become part of the zoning or not.
Or if the board was seriously considering the concerns,
Then we could do it ourselves and.
they could still vote to overrule our seriousness.
No, but we can either put something on the ballot or a petition can put it on the ballot.
Do we have to get 25 signatures?
No, we do not.
No, we don't, the petitioner. And if anybody on the board signs the petition, they just,
They can't vote.
They have to recuse.
because they're biased.
I guess that I brought it up to understand the process of how that would happen better, that's all.
It's really easy.
We've had a number of them in the past.
So the other part of it is that if you can protest, there can be a protest, which would require some percentage. I don't remember the percentage off the top of my head. I don't know if you remember. 20%.
Two-thirds of the abutters. If
No,
someone
but
suggests,
there's some smaller percentage of people that are affected by the zoning that can sign a petition, filing it with the selectmen to protest.
and that changes the vote to two-thirds.
Yes, it makes it harder for it to pass.
So, because you have to specify, the warrant article would have to specify specifically what part of town would this zoning would apply to. Then all the abutters could file a protest petition saying, hey, well, that's gonna impact me because I'm an abutter. At which point, it's not a 50% majority that carries it, it's two-thirds.
Or the people that are affected by it. It could be either the abutters could protest it, or the people that are affected by it. So let's say somebody did a petition warrant article that said, you can't build a house more than 1,000 square feet. Well, gosh, I maybe want to be able to build on Stoneham Road, right? I live on Stoneham Road, and it's like, I could get my neighbors together and say, hey, this is, it's not something we want, and it's just affecting us. Let's, make it harder by signing the protest petition. So, anyway, it's easy to get something on the ballot, and if it's something that's not well liked, then it's not that hard to get a protest against it and make it harder to pass.
Here's my final member comment. Did this planning board, or do you know of any other planning board that actually had some type of a mission statement of why there's the planning board? Like, are we only here to enforce the ordinance, or are we here to protect private property, or are we here to do what? Did you ever see any
What's the
kind
website
of...
say on the planning board?
The RSA's say why a town would want a planning board and zoning.
So we don't have any mission statement, it's just the parameters of that we're enforcing land use laws at the state and the local ordinance.
You don't enforce, you don't
Not
enforce,
enforce, we
create.
interpret.
No, you create for the town to approve.
But we also judge applications.
Yeah.
I mean, there are certain administrative and judicial things that we do.
And their conformity to the ordinance. That's been voted on by
Well,
the town.
The ordinance guides us in our decisions. If somebody's proposing something that we don't think conforms with the zoning ordinance or the master plan, then we would say no, and they could appeal it to the ZBA and to Superior Court if they didn't like the answer we gave them. But I think partly our mission statement is, or part of our mission is stated in the master plan, right? That's one of the documents that we are responsible for creating, and I think we're also responsible for following it. And it does contain mission statement kinds of things. It has a vision statement section, right? Set of statements related to the vision for how growth should happen in the town and stuff like that. It's not really like this board's mission statement, if that.
No, it's not, that's why I was just asking. I'm just asking, did you ever see that?
I've never heard of it, but I'm not an expert.
Was the ADUs this state legislation that was just,
Mhm.
you've been going over that? Is there a size on those ADUs?
Yes.
What would that
You
be?
can't restrict it to less than, sorry, it's late, 750 square feet. You cannot make it less than that. I think
We can't set a max size that's smaller than 750 or something like that.
Wait a minute, let me get my folder out. My brain isn't working as quickly as it should. 9:30 at night.
Just getting going.
I know, that's what I can tell.
Think about lunch. Actually, I didn't think about dinner.
Good idea.
Pick it up beer, actually. Beer.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Cakes are. Cakes are. Yeah, I gotta breathe.
I gotta stop drinking beer and get more ice.
I'm sorry, I'm not finding it.
We're close to that number in town. Oh, for an ADU. ADU. I'm sorry. ADUs, we have other restrictions on them. 10% of,
Well, I was just looking at the number to make a comparison to tiny homes, so, well, they could be ADUs.
Well, our current zoning says the ADU will not be less than 350 square feet. And it goes on to say some other things.
But no,
But for some reason, I'm not finding what it's in the statute.
I think Tamworth doesn't have any zoning.
but there's a lot of towns that have no zoning. Pittsburgh doesn't have zoning.
May not be restricted to less than 750 feet.
The ADU,
So you can't make it less than 750, which is, I think, what I said to begin with.
there was. All right, thank you. Any more comments? Go once, go twice. Very good job. I'm going to stay in the chat tonight.